Imagine walking through a dense forest where the ground is a tapestry of damp leaves and the air smells of earth and pine resin. Suddenly, between the grey trunks of the oak trees, a metal wall appears that shouldn't be there. It's a riveted steel barrier, covered in decades of moss and peeling rust, stretching nearly 200 feet. Pause. You clean a small area with your hand, and, beneath the crust of dirt, a silvery shine returns your reflection. This is the beginning of a journey that defies time, the resurrection of a luxury train from the 1930s. What was once the pinnacle of human progress now looks like a carcass, devoured by the very nature he used to cross paths with. The scale of the structure is intimidating as you stand next to the massive iron wheels, now sunk into the soft ground. Each carriage weighs more than 70 tons, a mass of metal designed to tear through the wind at 100 miles per hour, but that hasn't moved in half a century. The windows are opaque, holding secrets from an era where travel was a social event, not a logistical necessity. Softly, you can hear the crunch of metal cooling in the shadows, a sound that sounds like the tired sigh of a giant who has run too far. There are no tracks visible under the base anymore. Just the memories of a railway that the forest decided to systematically erase. The contrast between the raw engineering and the delicacy of the ferns that grow in the cracks is the first lesson in humility of this place. To understand what this place will become, you need to close your eyes and ignore the smell of mold and oxidized metal for a moment. Imagine the sound of crystal glasses clinking as the train snakes through mountains. They're with passengers in formal attire watching the world go by. The restoration project seeks not just to clean the steel, but to capture this aura of exclusivity and bring it into the comfort of a modern home. Firmly, the challenge is colossal. How do you transform a metal tube designed for movement into a solid, welcoming foundation for sedentary living? Every inch of insulation, every electrical cable and every water pipe will have to be hidden inside an armor that never provided for such luxuries. It's delicate surgery on an iron body that has withstood 2 wars and countless storms. The logistics of the time were based on extreme durability, which today makes restoration a nightmare in terms of labor and precision. The original screws are weathered, and the interior's walnut panels have been bent by the relentless humidity of decades of neglect. Thoughtfully, the responsible architect doesn't just see scrap, he sees an opportunity for historic preservation that no masonry building could offer. The structure is made of a special steel, rich in chromium which protects the core from deep corrosion, just waiting for a new layer of care. It's a modern blind spot to believe that new is always better, when we have metal cathedrals waiting to be rediscovered. The first phase is the surgical removal of everything that nature tried to claim, revealing the Express's imposing skeleton. Now feel the transition as the rubble is removed and the true craftsmanship begins to shape the new home. The noise of sanders replaces the silence of the forest, and the metallic shine returns to dominate the landscape as the rust is defeated. Each car will be a different wing of the mansion, the first for social interaction, the second for gastronomy, and the third for absolute rest. Pause. The design respects the linearity of the train, creating a continuous flow experience where you never feel enclosed thanks to the opening of strategic skylights in the curved ceiling. Sunlight, which was previously an enemy that faded fabrics, is now invited to come in and highlight the beauty of the new joinery. The ghost of 1930 is opening its eyes to a new millennium. Chapter 2. The Alchemy of Steel and Luxury. The physical transformation begins with the skin of the train, where layers of grey paint give way to a brushed finish that reflects the forest like a distorted mirror. Special polymers must be applied to ensure that the metal does not weep rust onto the wooden deck being built around the base. The deck is a necessary extension, creating a level platform that makes the mansion feel anchored rather than just parked in the woods. Firmly. Imagine walking along this oak walkway, hearing the hollow echo of your steps on the iron, feeling the solidity of a structure that does not wobble even a millimeter. The access stairs were designed to imitate the original ones, but with wider steps and built-in LED lighting that guides the way at night. Upon entering the main carriage, The sensorial impact is immediate and overwhelming, as the space has been opened to create a hall with a curved and imposing ceiling. The sidewalls, previously cold and metallic, are now covered with acoustic suede panels and hardwood veneers that soften the environment. High-performance thermal insulation hidden behind these panels ensures the interior remains cool in summer and warm in winter, defying the natural conductivity of steel. Softly, you no longer smell the past. Now the air is filtered and scented with notes of cedar and clean linen. The original windows were replaced with smart glass that darkens at the touch of a button, preserving the view without sacrificing privacy. It's a bubble of sophistication, suspended in an ocean of wild green. The kitchen is a masterpiece of trail-adapted nautical design, with black quartzite countertops that appear to float against the shine of the high-end appliances. Nothing is standard here. Each drawer and each cabinet were custom-made to take advantage of the curvature of the carriage's sidewalls. Thoughtfully, the cook works in front of a panoramic window that frames the forest like a living tableau, constantly changing through the seasons. Where once waiters balanced moving trays, there is now a central marble island where guests gather to taste rare wines. The lighting is indirect, coming from the original ceiling moldings that have been restored with gold leaf to reflect a warm, welcoming glow. The furniture follows the Art Deco aesthetic of the train's golden age, with deep blue velvet armchairs and polished brass coffee tables. Whispers. Notice how the shadows of the trees outside dance across the fabric, creating a natural pattern that no artificial decoration could replicate. There is no apparent television. It emerges from the floor by a silent mechanism only when desired, maintaining the visual purity of the space. Each decorative object is a conversation piece, from antique pressure clocks transformed into works of art to crystal doorknobs that have survived the test of time. The mansion doesn't try to hide its industrial origins. She celebrates them, leaving some rivets exposed like scars of honor from a life spent on the railroads. The transition between carriages is via clear glass walkways, where you can see the forest floor passing beneath your feet as you move. It's a moment of direct connection with nature, a visual reminder that you are inhabiting a structure that challenges its surroundings. Pause. The sound of the wind howling between the cars is muffled by the aerospace-grade fences, turning the storm outside into a silent, cinematic spectacle. You realize that luxury is not in ostentation, but in the absolute security of being protected by hundreds of tons of steel, while the world outside follows its chaotic rhythm. The second chapter of this life ends with the consolidation of aesthetics. The war machine against time has become a temple of peace. Chapter 3. The micro and macro of rest. The sleeping car is where the human scale becomes the main focus, dividing the linear space into two suites that look like something out of a five-star hotel. The side hallway is narrow, a nod to classic railway design, but solid wood sliding doors reveal surprisingly spacious rooms. The beds are king-size, with leather headboards that integrate light and sound controls, allowing you to adjust the mood without getting up. Softly. The side view at eye level puts you in direct contact with the forest's fauna. It's common to wake up and see a curious deer watching your reflection in the glass. The roof over the bed has a reinforced glass opening, allowing you to sleep under the gaze of the stars and tree canopy. The bathrooms are this mansion's greatest engineering triumph, as they required the installation of biological treatment tanks hidden beneath the train's chassis. Where there were once small metal sinks, there are now rain showers with constant pressure and walls covered in natural slate. Underfloor heating ensures that contact with the floor is always comfortable, even on the coldest winter mornings. Firmly, the use of water is cyclical and sustainable, reflecting a modern awareness that living in nature requires protecting it with the same vigor with which it welcomes us. It's fascinating to think that, within such a rigid industrial structure, there are oases of controlled humidity and absolute relaxation. The visual physics here are clear, the hardness of steel against the smoothness of water and stone. At the end of the rest wing, we find the office, a refuge for the mind where silence is the top priority. The walls are double insulated, so that not even the sound of rain hitting the metal roof can interrupt the concentration. The work table was carved from an old iron beam from the train itself, maintaining the physical connection with the object's history. Thoughtfully, here the countrysado and the future meet in every click of the keyboard as you watch birds building nests in trees that are the same age as the train cars. This space proves that productive life can be carried out from anywhere, as long as the environment inspires greatness and stability. The micro detail of a pen on the table contrasts with the macro event of the forest that stretches for kilometers. The external lighting is designed to be almost invisible during the day, but at night it transforms the train into a floating sculpture of light. Small low-intensity projectors installed under the chassis illuminate the ground and iron wheels, creating a visual magnetic levitation effect. The surrounding trees receive warm lights that highlight their textures, transforming the natural garden into an extension of the living room. Pause. There are no strong lights pointed at the sky, respecting the darkness necessary for wildlife and observing the constellations. You can sit on the outdoor deck with a blanket, listening to the sound of metal gently crackling under the changing temperature, feeling like you are part of an ecosystem. Luxury is ultimately the ability to be present without making an impact. Living in a railroad mansion requires a different mindset than a regular home. You learn to appreciate linear rhythm and solidity. Every closed door has the heavy, satisfying sound of a security camera, and every window is a portal to a world that the train no longer needs to conquer. Sadly, it's goodbye to the age of frantic speed and hello to the age of deep contemplation. The original passenger's blind spot was the rush to arrive. Your privilege is the joy of staying. Steel is no longer a transportation vehicle, it is an anchor of identity and lifestyle. When walking from the bedroom to the kitchen, you cover the same distance that a passenger in 1930 would travel, but with your heart at peace. Chapter 4. The Legacy on the Immovable Rails. The first 48 hours of life in this mansion reveal a spiritual connection with the object that concrete would never provide. You begin to notice the details that time has failed to erase. The serial number engraved on the doorframe, the subtle wear on the handrail where thousands of hands have rested. Softly, it's not just a house, it is an inhabited museum, a testament to human ingenuity that refused to turn into scrap metal to become a dream. An investigation into the train's past revealed that it transported dignitaries and celebrities, crossing borders that no longer exist today. Now, your only border is the horizon line you observe from your favorite armchair, while the coffee slowly cools in the mug. Maintaining a metal structure in the midst of forest humidity is a constant technical battle that requires vigilance. Once a year, the outer hull needs to be inspected millimeter by millimeter for signs of corrosion or water infiltration. Firmly, the owner understands that he is the curator of a monument and that the cost of exclusivity is the eternal commitment to the conservation of the raw material. But this effort is rewarded every time a visitor enters for the first time and lets out a sigh of disbelief at the grandeur of the space. The transformation changed the local perception of what is possible to do with industrial abandonment, inspiring other adaptive reuse projects. The legacy of this train is proof that beauty is resilient and that luxury can be sustainable. Looking to the future, this railroad mansion will be here long after us, a steel landmark that has witnessed the transition from the physical to the digital world. Thoughtfully, it serves as a modern mirror to our own lives. We are often on the wrong tracks or stuck at derelict stations, waiting for someone to see our potential hidden beneath the rust. The fatal blind spot of the consumer society is rapid disposal. This home is the antidote to that mindset, celebrating durability and history. If steel could speak, it would say that the present rest is far more rewarding than the glory of past journeys. The journey ended not in a wrecking yard, but on a pedestal of nature and sophistication. Connecting the past to the present, we realize that the human desire for comfort and beauty is universal, regardless of the technology available. The passenger of 1930 sought the same refuge you seek today, only the means and context changed drastically. Pause. The mansion on rails is a physical reminder that time is a straight line. But creativity is a circle that always returns to rescue the best of the past. You become part of the lineage of those who value structure over appearance, the weight of history over the lightness of plastic. In the silence of the forest night, the silver glow of the train is the only light of civilization for miles, a beacon of elegance parked forever. Reflecting on everything that has been seen, the question that remains is not about the cost or the work, but about the courage to transform the impossible into home. Living here is an act of rebellion against architectural sameness, an invitation for each day to be an immobile journey through one's own soul. Firmly, the Silver Express now sleeps the sleep of the righteous, protected by an armor that man gave and that nature accepted as part of itself. The next time you see something abandoned and covered in moss, remember this mansion and ask yourself, what treasure is hidden there, waiting to be awakened? The end of the line is, in fact, the beginning of a new and splendid story.